Okay, so the 162-game marathon is officially over. We've, endured the chaos, the comebacks, the collapses, and now the 2025 MLB playoff bracket is officially set. Welcome to the deep dive. And this is your shortcut, basically, to everything you need to know before the real drama starts.
That's absolutely right. Starting September 30th, the intensity just ramps up immediately. We're talking the wild card round.
Right.
4 best-of-3 series. And get this, played on 3 consecutive days. No off days, no travel time.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah, and the high seed hosts all the games. So that final push to the finish line meant absolutely everything.
Okay, so before we unpack the matchups themselves, let's just set the field for you. We're using the 12-team format here.
Right, the standard now. 3 division winners, 3 wild cards per league.
Exactly. And the 4 teams that snag those critical first-round byes are locked in. In the American League, it's the #1 Blue Jays and the #2 Mariners. And then over in the National League, the #1 seed belongs to the Brewers, and the #2 seed went to the Phillies.
Got it. So our mission today, it's pretty focused. We're going to conduct a rapid-fire assessment of every single wild card series.
Digging into the good, the bad, the pressure points.
Exactly, the critical pressure points for each contender. Then we're going to deliver the expert consensus for the World Series matchup and, the champion.
Okay.
And maybe take a quick peek at which teams that failed this year are maybe built to contend in 2026.
All right, sounds like a plan. Let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
We got to start the bracket banter in the American League. And it's the series everyone kind of prayed for, right? The #4 New York Yankees, 94-68, hosting the #5 Boston Red Sox, 89-73, historic rivalry renewed. But the recent history is kind of weird. Yankees lost 8 straight to Boston this year.
It was a very odd dynamic, yeah. But the Yankees finished absolutely piping hot, winning 8 straight just to seal this spot. For New York, the undeniable strength is just raw home run power. They led the majors in long balls.
And you've got Aaron Judge. He feels due, doesn't he, for a big October breakout?
He really does, although that career postseason batting average is still sitting at, .205? Surprisingly low.
It is low. And the sources, they keep pointing to one, massive pressure point for the Yanks, that bullpen.
Ah, yes.
The names Bednar, Williams, Duvall, sound like this elite crew on paper, but the source notes called them mercurial. How do we trust that group when the margin for error is basically 0?
That volatility, that's their biggest vulnerability, no question.
Yeah.
Now, you flip it. Look at their rival, the Red Sox.
Okay.
Their greatest strength. It might just be a single player. Ace Garrett Crochet. Finished 18-5, 2.59 ERA. He gets the ball in Game 1. That's a potential series changer right there.
Huge advantage in a short series.
Huge. Plus, they've got a true lockdown closer in Aroldis Chapman. He only blew 1 save all year, I think.
Incredible. But the flip side for Boston, that offense, it really kind of tumbled, didn't it? Without the injured rookie Roman Anthony.
Yeah, the numbers are stark. They're basically a 45-46 team without him in the lineup. That's terrifying heading into a short series.
It really is. So the consensus.
Well, the consensus among the experts we looked at, despite all that rivalry volatility, it still favors the Yankees.
Interesting.
Yeah, the feeling seems to be that New York's sheer power just wins out in the end, and that Boston, maybe they're still just a year away from being a true deep October threat.
Okay, from that high-octane rivalry, we move to maybe a true battle of wills over in the Central Division, driven almost entirely by momentum.
Right.
The #3 Cleveland Guardians, 88-74, hosting the #6 Detroit Tigers, 87-75.
This is like a textbook definition of momentum versus collapse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cleveland engineered what the sources are calling an improbable run.
Seriously improbable. Weren't they 15.5 games out in July?
Something like that, yeah. And they had just a 1.5% chance to even make the playoffs back in August. Just incredible.
And the Tigers?
Meanwhile, the Tigers suffered what's being called a historic collapse. Finished the season with just a miserable .291 winning percentage in September. Ouch.
Yet Cleveland, they actually have a negative run differential for the season, and they're still favored here. Doesn't one Cy Young caliber arm in Tarek Skubal just dramatically increase the volatility?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Skubal's arguably the best pitcher in baseball right now. That's a massive advantage in Game 1.
That is the ultimate X factor, no doubt. If Skubal goes out and wins Game 1, it changes the whole complexion of the series.
Right.
But the problem is, the rest of the Tigers' rotation had a really bloated 4.84 ERA in September. That's not good.
Wow.
Conversely, Cleveland is riding that wave of excellent pitching. Their bullpen had a ridiculous 2.25 ERA last month.
Wow.
And, of course, they have the consistent brilliance of Jose Ramirez. He just carries them sometimes.
So the experts basically see the Tigers as being too flat, maybe too demoralized to overcome the Cinderella story.
Pretty much, yeah. While some view it as a total crapshoot or a coin flip, the momentum just seems to favor Cleveland pulling this one out.
All right, let's transition over to the National League. Heavy on star power over there. We start with the defending champions, the number 3 Los Angeles Dodgers, 93-69, meeting the number 6 seed, the Cincinnati Reds, 83-79. And the big storyline. We finally get to watch a fully unlocked Shohei Ohtani pitching and hitting in the postseason.
That is the story here, isn't it? The Dodgers' strength is, just look at that starting pitching depth. It's described as truly daunting.
Yeah, it's insane.
Ohtani, Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow. You can basically throw aces at a team for 3 straight days.
Yeah.
Plus, you've got Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. Their combined career World Series OPS is like 1.171 or something. That's certainty.
Okay, so everyone favors the Dodgers, obviously. But in this best-of-3 format, is that consensus maybe underestimating their big vulnerability? That bullpen, it ranked 26th in MLB ERA in September. They're resorting to using guys like Kershaw, Sasaki, Sheehan starters in relief roles. That feels like a patchwork effort that could just sink a giant instantly.
That is absolutely their major structural risk. No doubt about it. They're really relying on their starters to go deep, which is always tough in October.
So what's the path for the Reds then?
Well, for the Reds, their only real way to win is probably through that young rotation. Green, Abbott, Lodolo. That makes them potentially dangerous in a short series.
They bring the excitement factor, too, with Ellie Del Cruz.
Oh, yeah, high excitement. But the fatal flaw is a pretty weak offense. They were basically bottom third in the league in the second half of the season.
So despite that bullpen scare for LA, the prediction remains pretty strong for the Dodgers.
Overwhelmingly so, yeah. The Dodgers are expected to handle the Reds with ease, according to most sources. We'll see.
Okay, finally in the NL, we have a really fascinating stylistic contrast. The number 4 Chicago Cubs, 92-70, facing the number 5 San Diego Padres, 90-72.
The Padres went all in at the deadline to get here.
They really did.
And the Padres, they were kind of built specifically for what people call modern playoff baseball.
Meaning
they have arguably the deepest group of pitchers overall, featuring what's being called a super pen, just throwing absolute gas.
like multiple guys throwing high 90s.
Exactly. I think the stat was 6 different relievers hit 98 miles per hour or more just this past week. That's how you potentially shut down powerful offenses in October.
The San Diego offense, doesn't it kind of hinge on one guy really stepping up?
It feels that way sometimes, yeah. They desperately need Manny Machado to finally have his, signature October moment.
His postseason numbers haven't been great for them, have they?
No. His career Padres postseason line is a pretty worrying .216 average, .461 slugging. If he doesn't hit, that rotation, which is a bit volatile itself, Cease, Darvish, King, might not get enough run support.
Okay, so what about the Cubs? They're known more for strong defense, right? And an offense that's maybe more patient, willing to take walks, as the source said.
Yeah. Exactly. Solid defense, patient offense. What's their key pressure point heading into this series, though?
Yeah, what's the worry?
It's really timing and health.
Yeah.
Late injuries kind of pushed them off track, specifically losing their top starting pitcher, Cade Horton, to a rib fracture. That's huge.
Oh, wow. How long is he out?
He's out through at least the NLDS, maybe longer. So that just heightens the pressure immensely on the offense, on guys like Michael Busch and Pete Crow Armstrong to deliver right away.
Man, this one really does feel like a toss-up then.
It absolutely is, because it's a short series, and because of the potential dominance of that Padres super pen, a lot of experts are leaning San Diego. But if the Cubs lineup can somehow click and get back to its pre-injury form, they definitely have the defensive edge, which can steal games. So, yeah, toss-up.
Okay, let's unpack the big picture now. We've dissected the wild card series, but the goal is obviously the World Series. And wait, the Phillies and Mariners, that's the consensus final prediction. Over the number 1 and 2 seeds who earn the byes.
Yeah, that's the narrative that really jumped out from our source material.
We need to unpack the why behind that, because that's a pretty strong tilt away from, the bracket favorite.
It is. There's definitely a strong feeling toward the National League champion winning it all this year.
Oh.
And, yeah, the overwhelming consensus pick we found is the Philadelphia Phillies over the Seattle Mariners.
Okay, so why the Phillies, 96-66 specifically, over the top seed Brewers who had the same record?
The thinking is they're simply built better for the grind of the postseason. The experts point to that power combination, Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper. They already have, what, 38 combined postseason home runs?
That's insane. A lineup nightmare.
Totally. And crucially, they really prioritize starting pitching volume. They led the majors in innings pitched by their starters and logged the third-best rotation ERA overall. Even with the Zach Wheeler injury concern, that depth matters.
And there's a sense of urgency, too, right, for this core group?
Absolutely. A genuine urgency for this core to capitalize right now.
Okay, makes sense. Now, why the Mariners 90-72 over the dominant 96-win Blue Jays in the AL?
Well, the sources point to the Mariners being maybe the most complete team in the American League right now.
Really? How so?
They finished September with the best offense in baseball, statistically, which is huge, complementing their already deep rotation. Gilbert, Kirby, Castillo, Wu, and a really strong bullpen with guys like Brash and Munoz.
And there's that narrative factor, too.
Yeah, you can't ignore it. The narrative matters. They're the only active franchise never to appear in the World Series. That adds an element of, historic firsts that sometimes feels like destiny brewing.
Interesting. Now, for those who like maybe the more traditional path, did we see any alternative predictions? Like maybe the favorites prevailing?
Yeah, there was one alternative expert prediction floating around suggesting that chalk prevails in the end. A Dodgers over Yankees World Series, basically a rematch from last year.
So sometimes the most talented teams just find a way, even with those glaring flaws like the bullpens.
Exactly. Talent can often overcome a lot, especially over a longer series.
Okay, let's pivot away from October 2025 just for a minute. We know the 2026 playoff schedule is already tentatively set, ballpark dates anyway, but which teams who failed to make the 2025 playoffs look like strong contenders to break through next year?
Yeah, looking ahead, you got to look at two really high-profile clubs that missed the cut this time around. First, the New York Mets.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, our sources didn't mince words. They suffered a $340 million disaster and an epic collapse this year. The owner literally had to apologize to the fans.
Yikes.
Their entire offseason basically hinges on one critical decision. What do they do with Pete Alonso? Re-sign him, replace him. That choice will likely determine if he can bounce back from what was truly a botched season.
That is a massive question mark, and a lot of money potentially needed to fix things. Who else looks likely to return quickly?
The Houston Astros? Probably. They finished 87-75, missed the postseason cut, which is rare for them recently.
You just missed it.
But their strong underlying structure, their recent championship history, it just suggests they're very, very likely to return to contention in 2026. You don't usually lose that kind of organizational foundation overnight.
Makes sense. They'll likely reload and be right back in the mix.
I would think so. So as we dive into this postseason, the really crucial insight, I think, is that there's no clear super team. Not like some years.
Right, feels more wide open.
Exactly. And when there's parity like this at the top, chaos often rules the bracket, especially in these super short wildcard series.
That's the perfect final thought, actually, because that short best-of-3 wildcard format, it forces managers' hands, doesn't it? They have to deploy their highest leverage arms instantly.
Right, maybe in the 5th or 6th inning sometimes. Much earlier than they'd ever want to, ideally.
So you really have to ask yourself this question as you watch. Which bullpen is it going to be the Dodgers' kind of patchwork crew forced to use starters for relief? Or is it the Padres' high-octane superpen throwing gas?
Which one defines the chaos?
Exactly. Which one ultimately defines the chaos of October 2025? It's definitely something for you to mull over as the bracket gets underway this week. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.